Yeah.
Cool. All right. Here we go. Paradox of Sports, episode 44. Jack's been running around like crazy. Just got home from one of Vaughn's games. Do you help out at those? We've talked about this before. Do you do any coaching or helping, or are you just there hanging out with buddies?
I do a scorecard and book, but like that's it.
Oh,
and
so
then
you
I just hang out with my friends.
So you keep the book during the, like, are you keeping the official book?
The game, yeah.
Nice. Well, that's cool. You get to help. Now, do you like doing the book?
Yeah.
I used to too. I have an old one. This is way back in the day. Back in the paper in the Chieftain days. I covered I want to say it was Eads Fowler. I don't remember, but it was when Hoshaver was a senior. And I had those papers that I had kept the book for a long time, and I've lost them. I don't have them anymore. But that used to be when I would go cover baseball. That was one of the coolest parts when you would write a story about baseball, is covering it, because it was so slow and methodic. As you kept the book, you could kind of make notes during the game. And, so many strikes in a row, foul balls. Like I enjoyed covering baseball a lot.
Mm-hmm. Also, it turns out Justin Fields has been managing epilepsy.
Wait, that just came out here like tonight?
Yeah. It turns out that Justin Fields has been managing epilepsy, but it's probably not going to affect his draft stock, but could.
And who leaks that? Does his people leak that, or?
It was Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ian Rappaport, OSU quarterback Justin Fields has confirmed to NFL teams during the pre-draft process that he is managing epilepsy, a neurological disorder that can cause seizures. Per Ian and Tom Pelissero, has not affected football, and doctors believe he'll outgrow it, as his other family members have as well. Dude, that's crazy. They can keep something like that quiet and all that, which HIPAA, and that's nobody's business, but he's a pretty high profile individual to get that far into the draft and not have that come out. Did you see, now, I believe it was Justin Fields. Was it his little sister that hit that, Justin Fields' sister? I think it was his little, oh yeah, if you get a chance, look up, it was Georgia softball. Jaden Fields, she drove in a run last night to upset Oklahoma. Georgia did. They upset them, snapped Oklahoma's 40-game winning streak in softball. It ended up being 7-6 was the final. It had to have been a phenomenal game. But yeah, I saw that this morning. So yeah, that would be his little sister, and she looks like a stud.
Yeah.
So, well, we have you done too much draft preparation yet? Like, have you been looking at kind of where you see things going?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm doing the same thing that made our first, that sparked the channel.
Gotcha. So you got your whole other mock draft going then.
Yeah. So basically, first overall pick, there's no doubt in my mind that we're taking Trevor Lawrence. Here, I'm even gonna pull up a mock draft simulator.
When is the draft?
When is the draft? It is next Thursday, so a week after tomorrow.
Okay, so like next Wednesday, we can do your mock draft. Say first round mock draft.
Yeah, or
okay.
And then I could release a full mock draft, like once, like if I get the chance this weekend.
Yeah, get it all typed up and ready.
Here, I'm gonna give you my top 5 picks.
Yeah, give me what you think the top 5 are going to be, and then I want to know 2 things: top 5, and then I want to know where the Broncos are going to go.
Okay, so basically, I'm gonna actually do top 10.
Okay, let's do top 10. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do top 10.
Yeah.
We're gonna do our interview,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're gonna come back and talk Broncos. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, top 10. Who you got?
All right. Jaguars first overall pick. There's no doubt whatsoever that the Jaguars are going to take Trevor Lawrence.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Second overall pick. The New York Jets take Zach Wilson, also a no doubter.
Okay, I think some people would argue that with you, but we'll mark that. We'll mark the tape here. You're saying no doubt.
Yeah, those first two picks are already solidified. Third overall pick, I'm taking Justin Fields.
Okay, and where does that? Who has number 3?
San Francisco 49ers.
Ooh. Fields with Shanahan could be actually, I mean, anybody. Hell, me with Shanahan could be fire. But a guy like Fields, that could work.
Mm-hmm. For the Falcons, I've really liked this guy. His name is tight end Kyle Pitts. He's like Darren Waller. He plays just like Darren Waller. 6'6", 240 pounds, but really athletic.
Is he the kid that has never played football before? Is he the basketball player that's never played football before, or was that somebody else?
I think that was somebody else.
Okay, gotcha.
Sure. I mean, he went to Florida.
Okay, gotcha. Never mind. Now I'm thinking somebody else.
Yeah. So Kyle Pitts, 4th overall pick to the Falcons.
Okay.
All right. 5th overall pick. I'm going to take Penei Sewell, offensive tackle out of Oregon, to the Bengals.
Okay.
Dolphins. With the 6th pick, the Miami Dolphins select Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU.
Okay, I'll buy it. How confident are you in that one?
I'm pretty confident.
Okay.
They had originally traded down 9 spots, then traded up 6.
Okay.
So, yeah. Why the 49ers had the 3rd overall pick.
Gotcha.
The Detroit Lions, with their pick, they're going to go with Patrick Surtain Jr.
Okay.
Cornerback out of Alabama.
Roll Tide. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then this pick is probably going to be the most bold out of all of my picks.
Okay.
The Panthers, with the 8th overall pick, are taking Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle out of Northwestern.
Okay, that's not a bad pick. You got to have them big guys up front. I mean, if he's that good, he might go sooner. It kind of depends what people need. You see them big ugly dudes, they go early in this thing if they're that good.
Yeah, everybody's thinking they're going to take Trey Lance, but I think not. But instead, the Broncos take Trey Lance with the 9th overall pick.
Okay, gotcha.
And then 10th overall pick, final pick of what we're going to be reviewing today, is going to be J.C. Horn, a cornerback out of South Carolina.
Okay.
Those are Jack's top 10. We will post a full mock draft on Sunday or Saturday or sometime this weekend on the Facebook page.
Gotcha.
Twitter and Instagram and all that.
Okay, cool. Well, before we get to the guest tonight, we got to talk about a sponsor that's helping us out. They've been on board, I think I go as far as say a couple months now. It's Barrel Brothers Liquor. They are at 2815 West Pueblo Boulevard in Pueblo, Colorado. They are family owned and operated. They are home to Pueblo's original beer cave, offering the coldest beer at the best price, along with the best customer service. You're not old enough yet.
No, I'm not
Jack,
old
you're
enough
not
yet.
old enough
I've still
yet.
got 10 years.
You've got 10 years, but it doesn't matter what you're shopping for. It could be baseball cards, it could be hats, or it could be Cerveza. Anytime you are having an experience as a customer, you want the best price, you want the best customer service, and you want the best quality of your product. In this case, with beer, you want it to be the coldest. They keep it chilling at 32 degrees inside the cave. You will find the best prices on all of your favorite beers, wines, and liquors. They have great selection that includes all the local favorites, which I'm going to assume is all the microbreweries along the Front Range and, you know, all that stuff that's rolled in down there. So if you're planning a party or a large event, they offer case discounts and have kegs available upon request. I don't even know if kids do that anymore. I've been out of the loop. I don't know if kids have keggers. I'll be anxious here in the next 10 years to find out from you if keggers are kind of a big thing. Your dad was known to have a kegger or two back in the day, but that's another story for another time. So you can come on in, check out their growing selection of craft beer, wine, and liquor, or swing through the convenient drive-through. They'll get their order ready for you. That's Barrel Brothers Liquor. Check out their Facebook page or swing by 2815 West Pueblo Boulevard. All right, Jack, who we got tonight?
Introducing MMA fighter in UFC. Please welcome Raquel Pennington. So, what got you into MMA?
I actually broke my back snowboarding and I couldn't take any of my athletic scholarships to college. And then I was just kind of doing some rehab and stuff and seeing the sport. I always grew up being a huge tomboy, and I wanted I wanted to box growing up, but my parents wouldn't let me. And then it was more so just a joke, just because MMA is really intense. And so I just told my mom, I was like, hey, I'm going to get into that sport. And I think she just thought it would be something good for me to get motivated again. And hey, I turned out to be really good at it. So here I am 14 years later.
What sports did you play when you were a kid?
Pretty much everything. I did basketball, volleyball, softball, ran cross country, did track, played football, did baseball with my cousins. I used to skateboard, I used to mountain board, and then played soccer, did gymnastics.
Before the incident with the snowboarding, had the mixed martial arts stuff, was that on your radar at all, whether watching it or thinking about participating in it?
Not at all. I was a huge baller. I was all about wanting to be in the WNBA, and then I was big into softball pitcher and shortstop. And so, I never even thought twice about that. I used to grow up with the guys, and huge tomboy, and my cousin who I'm closest to, we're 5 months apart. We used to fight like those crazy, annoying little kids. We were little terrorists to each other. But other than that, I never thought about fighting, never thought about wrestling, never thought about jujitsu, none of the above.
So you had never even really taken a punch before you got into it?
I've only taken a punch with my guy cousin. Like, we literally fist fought all the time. But as far as like fighting in like some sort of dimension to where it's controlled and stuff, never thought twice about it. And
that's crazy. That is crazy.
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because my first training session, I went in, talked to the coach that night, and he's like, yeah, come back tomorrow. Here's our training sessions, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I went back the next day, and my very first interaction of doing MMA or any type of training was actually sparring. Had no clue how to wrap my hands, do anything. He hands me these wraps, and I was like, what the heck? So I just wrapped them all crazy, like just trying to make this bulky thing on my hand. And then I kind of just jumped in there and was trying to move my head and swing at people and do everything. And that was my first experience.
What was it like growing up in Colorado Springs?
I love Colorado. It's funny, I was just having a conversation with some friends yesterday, but I am super family oriented. My family, my mom's side of the family, everybody lives here. So I come from a huge Hispanic background, and it's like we all pretty much live in one household. So, and then on top of that, I'm super outdoorsy and adventurous. I grew up being an avid hunter, fisherman. I love anything that you can think of. So whitewater rafting, rock climbing, ice climbing, hiking, snowboarding, cross country skiing, snowshoeing, like the list just goes on. Anything that the state has to offer, I'm out there doing it when the weather's perfect for whatever event. So, I mean, I absolutely love Colorado.
Talk about your experience in Invicta Fighting Championships.
Invicta. So I remember when Invicta first came out, I actually drove out to Kansas, introduced myself to Shannon, the owner of Invicta, and then kind of just got my foot in the door. An amazing promotion. I love absolutely what they did for the women and the home that they give to us, and then how supportive that they are. I remember being in my multi-fight contract with Invicta, but the Ultimate Fighter presented an opportunity to where obviously my weight class had the opportunity to get into the UFC and do those things. And, you know, contractual things can become a little complicated, but Shannon was like, oh no, like you will always have a home here with us. We love you. We want to support you. We want to see you succeed. Like you are on your destined path. And so, yeah, nothing but great things. I still support them, and it's awesome to see how far they've come after all these years.
Are you working on your own then? Like, has an agent come into the picture yet at that point where you say you drove out there on your own? Is that, were you doing all that by yourself?
Yeah, I've done my whole career by myself. I've had some bad experiences in the past, and I've been burned by some people. And then on top of that, just kind of being signed with UFC and having Reebok in the mix, and then now Venom, like, I mean, in reality, I have a great working relationship with UFC, so it's easy for me, and I'm very business minded. Excuse me. So it's easy to like reach out and like negotiate my stuff and whatnot, and kind of just get my foot in the door with things. The only thing that like is easier is to be the athlete and let somebody work on sponsorship parts, with Reebok and Venom being in the picture. But yeah, no, throughout my whole career, I've done it myself. Like I've scheduled all my fights. I've introduced myself to people. I've reached out to people. I've driven across the states. So yeah, I've built myself from the ground up.
Do you have a family member or a friend, or is there someone that you really, when it comes to the business decisions, that you're bouncing ideas off of and, you know, kind of going to for advice on stuff?
Nope.
Just doing it. Whatever feels good, you go with it.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That really is, because you see a lot of people get their teams a little too big, I think. And when you talk about getting burned and whatnot, that's
you do. And I've been there too. You know, I got to a part where I started getting really excited, and I felt like I had good people coming around. And it's not saying that they're bad people, but sometimes just business and relationships just don't go together. And a little bit, some people are driven off of money, and it makes people hungry, and it destroys relationships. And so there was one point where it's like, I believe in taking care of people. Like I love taking care of people how I want to take care of them. And then on top of that, whoever takes care of me, I always want to take care of them back. So, but I mean, it's come down to points where it's like some people just take and take and take, and it's like they don't ever give, and things are not reciprocated. So I let my table get too big at some points, and then I had to make those hard decisions and stuff. But that's life. It's lessons you learn, you know.
You started with Ultimate Fighter as a part of Team Take. Talk about your time there.
It was a cool experience. Definitely different. The Ultimate Fighter is something that challenges athletes. It takes you out of your complete comfort zone. And pretty much you're just living the life that you dream of. I mean, you're waking up and you're going to train, you're eating and you're recovering, and you're around athletes of the same caliber or the same mentality and with the same goals. But I mean, you're taken out of what you've known. You don't get TV, you don't get magazines, you don't get music, you don't get books. You have to fully interact with this group of strangers, and then it's just challenging. I mean, it's over a short period of a short time frame, and basically you got to be ready to make weight at any given moment. If there's like, hey, you're fighting tomorrow, you better be able to drop that weight and get on that scale. And then of course, like you're sustaining injuries in a short period of time. Like it was a really cool dynamic. It was different. It challenged me, but it truly helped me to spread my wings and just really grow and understand myself as a person and as a fighter. And then of course it obviously opened the door for the UFC and has given me better opportunities with my career.
In your first few years in UFC, you fought with people like Holly Holm and Jessica Andrade. What was it like fighting some of the best fighters of that time?
It's awesome. You know, I feel like me personally as an individual, I feel like I'm pretty underrated, and I don't feel like I get the credit that I deserve. And a lot of people get very distracted at my record. I think it's like 11-8 or something, but I don't even pay attention to those numbers, because if you look at the credentials I have, you're right. I fought some of the biggest names in the sport, and I've been ranked within the top 10 pretty much, I think, since a year after I got into the UFC. Like, I've made history in so many different ways and stuff. So yeah, for me, it's something to like be super proud of, especially when the fights come on and they're like, oh, Amanda Nunes with this leading amount of wins or whatever, but then Raquel Pennington right underneath her. And like, then Sarah McMahon's getting ready to fight and they're showing her takedown stats, but then all of a sudden I'm ranked up there within the top 4 girls too. And like, so for me, I mean, it's super exciting. It's an accomplishment. I obviously have the losses that I do have, they're pretty frustrating just because they're little losses to judges. And so, I don't know. It's cool to look back though.
When you talk about the Ultimate Fighter, the Ultimate Fighter part, that is what I think really brought the MMA mainstream. To have been a part of that. I mean, just for me, I was old, like Ken Shamrock and Tito Ortiz, and then I kind of moved away from the sport, like it, you know what I'm saying? And then when the Ultimate Fighter stuff, it presented it in a different way and gave you like the weekly follow along and everything. That seems to have brought it back, you know, where it wasn't on the pay-per-view all the time, where you had to seek it out. So being a part of that had to have been big for both your career, and then big to have been kind of the resurgence of the sport as a whole.
No, I would definitely agree with you. I think that's why it was kind of a bummer when they decided to take it away. Like, the fact that they're bringing it back, I think is amazing, because it allows people to connect to athletes in a different way. Like, obviously they can portray things however they want on TV and stuff. And sometimes, I mean, it's not the greatest thing. Like on my season, they made Ronda look absolutely insane on it. And I mean, she's a good person. Like, there's so much more there, but it gives people the opportunity to see us as human beings and what comes a little bit more behind us, as well as what we're out there providing with our talents and our craft. And so it just allows people to connect in a different way. And then, like I said, being the athlete and having that opportunity, it allows us to connect to something in a different way and be able to spread our wings. So overall, I think the idea of the Ultimate Fighter is like a really good thing, being an elite athlete and trying to make such a big move. But I mean, not everybody gets to experience that, you know?
Later during your career, you fought women like Amanda Nunes and Jermaine Durandamy. How had your performances improved from your UFC start to now?
You know, I've actually had, so, I mean, just like life, you're going to have your ups and downs, and the same thing in my career. And I've had a pretty hard comeback. You know, I mean, everybody who follows me really close understands my career. They understand the struggles that I've been going through or whatever else. And then the ones who don't, like, they make the judgments based off what you see on TV in that moment during fights and stuff. But I think overall, I've had a wonderful career. I've fought some amazing opponents. I love the challenges of everybody and what everybody has to offer. I don't care if you're ranked 50. I don't care if you're the champion. I don't care if you're ranked 5th. Like, you're in the UFC for a reason. You bring a challenge, and I love challenges, and I want to take that on. But I mean, ever since I fought Misha, I went into the fight with Misha Tate, and I had a complete torn right shoulder, which is why I was jabbing the crap out of her. My jab was my best friend. But and then I went into my surgeries from there, and just trying to come back from that and going into such a high profile fight, such as the world title, like, it was extremely hard after an 18-month layoff. It was hard I went into a broken leg and almost had to amputate my leg. Like, there was a lot of struggles going into things. Emotionally, like, my mind and my body were not matched up. And I was just getting really impatient and experiencing a lot of like depression and all kinds of things that came from that I've never really experienced as a person. So that made it hard. And then going into such a high profile fight, obviously it's the biggest fight of your career and you want it to go complete opposite. But in reality, like, my body wasn't ready. And as soon as Amanda kicked that leg, I've never experienced pain like that. I've been in fights with broken bones, taking cuts, bleeding in the middle of a fight. Like, it's never fazed me. I can get through it. But to feel the nerve damage I had in there and then to try to survive through it, like, my total heart came out. But that took an emotional toll. And then I developed a thyroid issue, and the thyroid issue has been a battle, just nonstop. And then I always believe in being professional. So then when I fought Jermaine, and I ended up missing weight because my body just completely shut down on me. It's been one thing after another. And so now, like, I've had to learn how to become smart with things, really take that time, find the patience in things, try to get my body back up to sync. And like, basically it was like starting from scratch again, and like understanding myself where I'm at now, and understanding where I want to be, and understanding that journey that goes into it. And kind of just taking the time to get my mind, my body, and everything lined back up. And, you know, I've been doing that. And then obviously there's strange times in the world with COVID and stuff going on. And so there was like some forced time off, but that was also a blessing in disguise for me to be able to have that. And then it gave me the opportunity to, I feel like I'm lining things up and I'm starting to feel a lot more like myself, but now I'm just in my prime. I'm in a better place emotionally, mentally, and physically. And I think that's why I had so much fun in my last fight against Marion Renau.
When you're going into a fight, you talk about how bad your shoulders beat up at that point. I assume that the opponent, that maybe the folks behind the scene know, but is that something that, does everybody know that you're that injured when you go into that? As in, so if the Broncos are going into a game and their top two wide receivers are out, you know they're playing without some of their weapons. Like, going into that without one of your main weapons, like, I get you, you know, you still have to fight and do it, but that sucks.
Oh, most definitely, you know, and a lot of people don't understand, because I don't care who you are, when you're going through a 8-week fight camp, and especially the intensity of the sport, you're not going into a fight 100%. Nobody is. There's always going to be some nagging injury. There's going to be something. There's like, it takes a huge toll on the body. And, you know, some people, obviously in moments I've been stubborn than others. That was a huge opportunity. I mean, Misha Tate, we have a solid story behind us, as far as like, she went from like my idol, she's one of the biggest in the sport, to all of a sudden she became my coach, to I flew out and trained with her to help her with her second fight against Ronda Rousey, to all of a sudden I'm hearing that she wants to fight me. And then UFC's getting the opportunity to fight for the first time at Madison Square Garden. Like, there's just so much behind it, and like making history. And for me, it was just like, okay, like, there was a stubborn point to where I have a torn bicep, I have a torn shoulder, but I'm going to push through. I'm going to grind. Like, we're going to make it work. Once we get past this fight, then I'll take care of it, type thing. And some athletes do that. Some athletes don't. But I think everybody, just like, we're all so passionate about fighting, that a lot of them, like, yeah, the injuries are there and people don't understand that. And sometimes they play a part. Sometimes they don't even phase you in the fight until afterwards, but then you've made it worse. And that's kind of just learning where to be like a smart athlete and stuff. And I have not had the brightest decisions on that. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's definitely taken a toll, and it put me back in some setbacks, but then it's kind of cool, because it's like I can look back and like, knowing, like, watching the fight and watching how much I was jabbing her, I'm like, oh man, I remember how bad that shoulder felt in there. But then at the same time, I'm like, that could have been absolutely crazy. That was kind of a bad decision.
Who do you want to fight next?
Who do I want to fight next? So I'm actually scheduled to fight in June, and I'm fighting, I can't say her name. I think it's like Pani Kiazad or something. The Raging Panda, I believe her nickname is. She's spent a lot of time during this downtime that I've had with this suspension with USADA, talking crap and calling me out. And then Aspen Ladd was spending a lot of time. So obviously Aspen's ranked above me. I want to climb the rankings. But she wasn't going to be ready until August. So I asked for a fight sooner. And like I said, love the challenge. Don't care who you are. I don't care where you're ranked. So me and her are actually scheduled for June. And then wherever's obviously Aspen, if she wins. And then obviously I want that world title shot again. So.
You have been training around twice a day, even here in Pueblo at the PBR Performance Center. What do you think about working out at that facility and in Pueblo in general?
I love it. I mean, like I said, I'm proud of Colorado. Like, I love being anywhere. I love the gyms. The PBR is like, it feels like pretty much like a home away from home. It almost feels like being at the Performance Institute in Las Vegas. I love the recovery that they offer. I love the vibe that's there. The facility is just phenomenal. So it's just a great environment. And then on top of that, like, even though I'm commuting down to Pueblo for the 50 minutes there and back every time, it's kind of nice just to have that opportunity just to reset, to kind of listen to my music, get into my own zone, spend some quality time with myself, go get in a solid training session, and then drive home and kind of like soak in the work that I did and just have that. So I really like it. Yeah, I train usually twice a day. Sometimes, just depending on how I feel, it might go down to one or it might go up to three. And then I just take the weekends off and hang out with my pups, hang out with my family, just have a emotional and mental recharge.
What do you do in your free time now?
Well, usually when I'm in camp, anytime that I get some free time, I like to sleep and recover. I love hiking, like I said, anything outdoors. So even though it's active, it's doing something different for me mentally and emotionally. I have a Pennington gang, as I call it. I own 7 dogs, so I'll take my dogs out and we go hiking and dog park, whatever it is. Or I'm hanging out with family and friends, just kind of chilling out. Like I said, I come from a huge Hispanic background. And so we get together at least twice a week for family dinners. We're together every time a UFC fight's on and just interacting. I spend time with my good friends, or honestly, like, I love me time. So whether I'm doing yoga, whether I'm sitting at the house, kind of just relaxing. And then currently I also coach high school gymnastics. So we just finished out that season. So it's been a little busy in between my own training sessions.
Okay, so Jack's got his final question. I've got my final one. I told you before we got going that it's something I've always wanted to ask a fighter. And you see it in the movies and you see it portrayed, but I want to know, have you ever thrown the perfect punch and had it connect and thought, man, that felt good, and the other person just not react? And then what is your thought if that has happened? Like, is that an oh crap moment, or is it like, has that happened?
No, actually, no. There's been so like, you can tell when you throw that perfect punch. You can feel it, you can feel the placement, you can feel the impact, and then clearly you can see it on other people's faces or on their body or whatever. Like, there's some sort of reaction. But yeah, no, I mean, I have definitely thrown some perfect punches and definitely gotten the reactions I've wanted from them. And then for me, it's just, I'm like, yeah, there you go.
Is that a euphoric moment? Like when you talk about, I mean, you're showing on your arm where you feel it all. Is there a release of serotonin or something? Like when that happens, is that like the greatest feeling?
You know how like basketball players get in trouble because they like shot their beautiful shot and they're like holding it up a little too long, admiring. It's kind of where all of a sudden you're like, boom, and it felt good. And then next thing you know, you're getting smacked because you're like, you try to absorb.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's moments in there, but there's also ones where it's like solid and you know to just keep going. It's some sort of switch. But then there's those ones where it's like you admired them for that split second too long, and now because they punched you once, you got to punch them twice.
Gotcha. Okay, last one, Jack. What do you got?
What was the greatest moment of your fighting career?
Greatest moment of my fighting career. Ooh, that is a good question. Way to hold that one out for last. You could have let me ponder on that this whole time. Greatest moment. Wow. So yeah, wow. I don't know. I've had a lot of great moments in my career. I've had a lot that I'm super proud of. I've had some that like I'm not so proud of, and but I think the ones that probably stand out most to me is I would probably say, so I'm big with interacting with like fans and like inspiring people. I do motivational speakings and all this other stuff. So I think the opportunity with the Ultimate Fighter opened a door that like gave me a platform where people shared stories with me, and like it basically was a positive circle. Like, even though I'm doing what I love and like have this platform and whatnot, and people are becoming inspired by me, I had people reaching out to me, sharing lifetime stories and all these things, and like just being very vulnerable. And so like that was something more personal for me. That was like a big thing in my career. And then as far as just like fighting aspect, I mean, not everybody in this world even gets to fight for a UFC title. And so the opportunity that I've had being able to do that already, I mean, that's one of the biggest accomplishments. Whether it went the way that I wanted to or not, it's kind of like the Ultimate Fighter. Some people believe you got to win the Ultimate Fighter in order to get in the UFC. That wasn't the path for me. I lost in the semifinals, but I've done some amazing things into the UFC. And it's kind of the same thing. My first title shot may have not gone the way that I wanted it to, but let me tell you, during COVID, when that fight came on TV and actually watching it, knowing how I felt in there emotionally and what I was going through physically in my leg, to feeling like I was just a punching bag, to actually watching it on TV and seeing some of the things that I actually did and realizing like, shit, I am that athlete. And like, I'm most definitely, that's in grip's reach. Like for me, I would probably have to say just having those opportunities, like fighting some of the best, having that world title shot. And like I said from the beginning, where I told you guys that I built my career from the ground up and haven't really had help with that. Like, I think that's one of the biggest accomplishments right there. Like, I know that I have grinded to get to exactly where I'm at, and all I can do is be proud of that.
Awesome. Rocky, thank you for the time.
Yeah.
We appreciate it very much. Stay healthy.
For sure. You
Good
too.
luck moving forward.
Thank you. Good talking to you guys.
All right. We want to thank Rocky for taking some time. She did a good interview there, man. That was very cool. I think she was in the middle of working out. She was very gracious with her time. She was very open and honest. I'm a loose UFC fan. I did not realize when she went into that fight just how injured she was. So I don't know about you, but it would kind of suck to go into, if you had to go into one of your baseball games and then all of a sudden you had to bat left-handed or pitch left-handed. You know what I mean? Like, it would suck to go in without one of your main weapons into the game.
Yeah. I'd rather bat left-handed than pitch left-handed because there is no way I can pitch left-handed. My left arm isn't strong enough.
Well, I'd sure as hell rather try to pitch left-handed or hit left-handed than to get in there and try to fight somebody with one of my arms not working. You know what I mean? At least baseball wise, the other person's not trying to punch you in the nose. So I don't know, man, that fighter mentality, I don't know. There was a lot of things when she talked about she had never really taken a punch before she got into it. Like, those people that enjoy that hand-to-hand combat or whatnot, they're wired different than Uncle Kevin is, because that's not up my alley. That's not anything I want to get involved with. She talked a little bit about the PBR training center down there. Have you been to that thing?
I think I have. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Is it downtown where the headquarters and stuff are?
It's like it's like on the Riverwalk, I think.
Yeah, just kind of north of Angelo's Pizza.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we talked about it before the interview, and before we get out of here, you gave your top 10 of the draft. You had a special guest that you brought back for this episode tonight that you're holding in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Kenny Stapler.
Kenny Stapler is back. So you and Kenny, what do you think the Broncos do? How many picks does Denver have as of now?
Let me look. How many draft picks Denver Broncos? They've got Um, hold on. I bet I can find it on the Denver Broncos website.
Okay.
They've got first round pick, second round pick, third round pick, fourth round pick, fifth round pick, sixth round pick, seventh round pick, and then two. Wait, I don't think that's accurate. Hold on. Wait,
Hold on.
here, I'm actually gonna pull up a mock draft simulator for this. I'll mention that later. So we're going to go here, do select all. Wait, can I do this?
I don't know.
Hold up. I learned how to do this earlier. So they have 1,
Jamal-
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 picks.
Okay, Jamal Murray just posted to his Instagram. He is out of ACL surgery.
Yay!
So we'll see.
Okay. So they have 9 picks.
Okay. Do you think we hold on to those? Do you think we use them? What do you think they do?
I think we could trade up for the 4th overall pick.
Who are we
Could
going to
be
get for the quarterback?
Yeah. We could get we could pounce possibly on Trey Lance or Mac Jones. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. So I say we're good to go ahead and announce next week. We're going to have the mock draft special. So you'll get a mock draft already. Depending how many rounds you want to go, what we want to do. But we'll go in you're going to do the full 7?
Yeah.
Okay. You think you can last? Can we do? How long is that going to take?
Probably not too long. I'm just gonna post it I'm just gonna post my listed mock draft on
the page.
social media outlets.
So we'll get together and discuss for sure how we see like the first couple of rounds going, but you will post the entire draft to the social media outlet page places.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right on. Well, what do we got? Baseball this weekend. What do you got going?
What do I got going? Games Saturday night, Sunday morning.
Okay, last thing before we go, I wanted to ask you this too. There's your mom posted a picture last night of you working on, I believe it was a math situation. What was that you were doing? It looked intense.
Yeah, it's called noetic math. It's like really hard math. And it's a contest.
For me, that's just called any math is hard math, but I changed the subject. Sorry. So what was it you were doing?
I was doing a noetic math contest. Basically really hard math and like 20 questions, and I left one question unanswered because I didn't have time to fill it out and I was really confused. So I think I did okay knowing that I did not have a 1 month note, because normally I get like a month, even 2 to practice, but I only had like 1 weekend, like a week to practice.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this kind of got dropped on you late.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that stuff's going to happen in life too. So you'll be prepared for some stuff you face. Other stuff you're going to have thrown at you, so you won't be not so much. So sweet. Okay. Other thing we were talking about right there. What do you got? Baseball games this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay. Tournament, just regular season. What are we doing?
Did you say tournament?
Yeah. Do you have a tournament, or is it just regular season, or?
Those Saturday and Sunday games are regular season. I do have a tournament. I don't know when that is, but
We have one coming.
mhm.
Cool. Sweet. Well, that's all I got. You got anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, then you better go ahead and get us out of here.
All right. I'm not gonna speak really fast this time. I'm just gonna say that's it for this week's edition of the Paradox of Sports podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You'll find us over there. And also be sure to comment on if you would rather pitch with your opposite hand or hit with your opposite hand.
Yeah. Would you rather have to throw the ball left-handed or bat left-handed if you're a righty?
And then if you're a lefty, you're right-handed.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. That sounds good. Let us know, folks.
And we'll see you next week on the Paradox of Sports podcast.